I'm so grateful. I really and truly am. And because I move things around, I'm going to, okay. We don't want to have, maybe we could call it confetti flying around with everything here. Yeah, I keep getting invited back. Thank you. That's pretty special. Ministers have a reputation, or some ministers at least, of turning a message, sermon, or lesson on the subject of prosperity into the big ask. You know, the sales pitch for giving money to fund the programs of the church and pay for the staff that implement them, and also for the ongoing maintenance of church building and grounds. Well, dear ones, this is not that lesson. I'm here today to join together with you and say that when it comes to the subject of prosperity, enough is enough. Let's sit with that a while. Enough is enough. What just went through your minds? This isn't a quiz. You're not going to be graded. Enough is enough with the judgment already. I'm asking you to reflect upon what image, experience, or expression came to you. Again, this is for your benefit. Enough is enough. Was your first thought connected at all with the subject of prosperity? Whatever your response, notice it and tuck it away for future reflection. Now, come and go with me to where the stories prosper and breathe. Recently, as I was walking a labyrinth, I opened up to Spirit to be receptive for and to breathe in the wisdom and divine ideas that might come to me and through me. And this is what came. Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Some of you might recognize the language as being from the famous love chapter in Paul's first letter to Corinthians, chapter 13. And as I continued to walk the labyrinth, the hymn kept singing itself to me. There's more to this. There's more, I said to myself. Hopeless gain. Gain as in profit. Profitability as in prosperity. What is it that Paul says? Once home, I turned to number 34 in my hymnal, and here's the second verse. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not be given by love within, the profit soon turns strangely thin. Profit, prosperity. In writing to the congregation in Corinth, Paul is urging them to consider how they might help another struggling community, Jesus' brother James's utopian community in Jerusalem. Isn't the greatest law of all the law of love? Paul says it this way: faith, hope, and love abide, these three. And the greatest of these is love. Even back then, during the first century of the Common Era, Paul was encouraging folk who were practicing the way of Jesus to remember that we are a part of each other, that there really is no prosperity unless all of us prosper. In his second letter to the Corinthians, Paul clarifies his position regarding sending help to the Jerusalem community. He assures them, I do not mean that there should be relief for others and pressure on you, but it is a question of a fair balance between your present abundance and their need, so that their abundance may be for your need, in order that there may be a fair balance. This places a whole different spin upon what prosperity means, doesn't it? In our dominant culture, the practice and the preaching of the way of Jesus has thoroughly absorbed the needs and desires of the state, a process that began in earnest when the Roman Emperor Constantine called the Council at Nicaea in 325 of the Common Era. That's when the still new Christian religion was growing in popularity and adding more and more new converts from the imperial religion of the gods, which of course included Constantine as the emperor. Maybe he's a roly-poly emperor. The Holy Roman Emperor, there we go. And that's when Constantine saw the writing on the wall, as it were, decided to join them and stopped the persecution of the Christians. That's when some of the very bishops who had been imprisoned and tortured for practicing Christianity were invited to convene this holy council and codify the teachings, stories, and sayings of Jesus into what became the book of books, the Christian Bible. So from 325 CE until this day, states and nations declared themselves to be Christian nations. Imperial Christianity. Prosperity defined for the benefit of the policies of the state and for the rich and powerful. Paul could see it happening in their beloved community. Jesus and other prophets from generations before saw it, named it, and then insistently defined prosperity as that which benefits all. All of the mountains and the heavens and the animals and the fish of the sea and all of the people. Saying it something like this: what affects one of us affects us all. There is enough and more than enough. As Paul says, it's a question of fair balance, equity, respect, love. We can be forgiven when we lose sight of this ancient law of connection and love. We can be forgiven for our inability to see, feel, hear, and understand because of millennia of massive manipulation. This manipulation was deepened and compounded when human beings were introduced to the concept of the individual at the end of the Middle Ages. Yes, it took that long for humans to begin to move away from I am because we are toward I think, therefore I am. Even though independent individualism has only existed for a blink of an eye when compared to the rest of human existence, we can be forgiven as we are breathing the air of individualism. It is that persistent. Yes, individualism is assumed to be as natural as breathing, when it is not natural at all. The way I experience it, we somehow manage to operate in our own little capsules, like the boy in the bubble, where we act as if we are completely separate and apart from other people. From this perspective, it follows that our success, our prosperity, comes to us through our own efforts. In our individualism, we are encouraged to act on our own, to put ourselves first, to take care of ourselves because nobody else will. It is in the air that we breathe. All aspects of life in the dominant culture in the United States are designed to reinforce the concept that we are quite distinctly separate from everyone and everything. No wonder we suffer from anxiety and fear of never having enough. No wonder so many people become hoarders. No wonder so many people, good people, worry about whether or not the recipient of our generosity is truly deserving of it. We are that disconnected. The ploy, the ancient and consistently successful, prosperous ploy of divide and conquer is with us in almost every aspect of our lives. Even Jesus participated in it. What? Jesus participated in divide and conquer? Perhaps. Recall this story as related in the book of Matthew. Jesus left that place and went away to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Just then, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and started shouting, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is tormented by demons." But he did not answer her at all. And his disciples came and urged him, saying, "Send her away. She keeps shouting at us." He answered, "I was only sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." He answered, "It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord. Yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed instantly. Here we have it. Enough is enough. According to this story, which was so important that the Council of Nicaea, way back in 325 CE, included it, and a very similar version in Mark. 2 times we hear this story. It is told as a story of faith. I hear it as a story about a woman, a mother, who persists in the face of mighty resistance. In those days, in the ancient Near East, a woman's worth depended upon her marital status and how many children she bore. Men and women who were not married to each other were not supposed to converse. And now Jesus is a prophet, a teacher, a rabbi, a man. He knows the holy laws and interprets them. He also travels with a group of followers. And the story makes quite plain that these followers, his disciples, are quite put out by this woman. "Send her away. She keeps shouting at us." How dare she? These men are, well, men. They are powerful. Yet, she persists. a worried mother, concerned for the well-being of her suffering daughter, concerned for her daughter's health and for her future prospects, will not be silenced. Look at me. Listen to me, she insists. The Jesus that we prefer to think of, the kind, gentle, compassionate man who keeps company with the outcasts and the sick and the reviled of society, well, that Jesus doesn't answer her. She's a Canaanite, not a Hebrew. Jesus makes a distinction between the people of God and her, a believer in many gods. Purity, divide and conquer. But the story takes us further. This desperate mother, this ungodly woman, makes her way through the crowd of displeased, possibly angry men, quite the gauntlet, to Jesus himself. She humbly kneels before him and begs him, "Lord, help me." Does Jesus show compassion? Mercy? No. He essentially calls her, and presumably other Canaanites, a dog, which to this day and in that part of the world is the worst thing you can call a person. Jesus says it is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs. In other words, you are not worthy of my help. I only have so much to give. I must give it to my people, the people of God. This is the story. Twice in the Bible. Remember, put together by men. But the story doesn't end there. Still, in the face of this insult and rebuke, the foreign, godless woman persists. Can you see her? On her knees, on the ground, in front of this man who could possibly change her daughter's life, save it, really. She confronts him. The nameless woman confronts Jesus. She claims her worthiness as a human being when she says, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table." That's when Jesus affirms her. That's when Jesus acknowledges in the presence of all his godly disciples that she is worthy. This woman is worthy of dignity and respect. This woman's daughter is instantly healed. Enough is enough. What a powerful story. An incredible story. A story worth repeating. In this and other stories attributed to Jesus, the healing isn't only for the person requesting it. Whoever is present receives the healing balm as well. Whoever hears the story receives the healing. And on and on and on. Throughout time, without time, enough and more than enough. Enough is enough. Jesus and other wisdom teachers throughout the ages knew that lessons are learned by repetition. Wisdom is received as a person is ready. And well before the science and study of learning styles, Jesus knew that the teaching needed to be presented in different ways in order for people to be able to better receive and process it. So in addition to the miracle of the loaves and fishes, the miracle of so many people sharing food, that there was enough and more than enough, Jesus evidently shared multiple versions of prosperity. And as Jesus and so many others continue to teach, prosperity, success, abundance, and well-being is ultimately about the quality of our relationships, based in love and recognizing that we are all part of the great divine wholeness of all that is. We can rest assured that there is enough, more than enough, when we share. Can we set aside our judging natures? Are we able to trust in the all good? That ultimately we truly have all that we need? Can we let go of our desire to control every aspect of our lives and instead dance and sing our way through life? There are so many opportunities for us to practice step by step and little by little our song of life through acts of kindness and generosity and compassion. And you do these every day by living your faith, your affirmative, positive, love-based, unity faith. You have the tools to do it, and the community in which to practice this countercultural, radical way of life. Perhaps the story of the Canaanite woman inspires you to persist and claim your own worth. Perhaps the story will reveal the divine mind to you during a difficult conversation about the legacy of slavery or other similar conversations. Enough is enough. Let us think again about Paul's letter to the Corinthians. I do not mean that there should be relief for others and pressure on you, but it is a question of a fair balance between your present abundance and their need, so that their abundance may be for your need, in order that there may be a fair balance. So, dear ones, what is equitable? What is fair? What is enough? How may we all prosper? Think on these things. I know you already do. And may your meditation and your prayer be fruitful. May you grow more and more in trust that you are an open channel through which prosperity flows. And may your congregation flourish as together you combine your combined minds and hearts open ever more fully to the divine ideas that reveal new avenues of supply. Come, Spirit, come. Our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed. May we all come to know that enough is enough.